Hi everyone, this is Kevin. You are listening to English Roundtable. Today I'm joined with a longtime guest, Shayne.
Hi, Kevin.
How are you doing?
Hi, good. I'm fine. Yeah, thanks.
Very good. Right now we're recording. It's the end of the term almost for us. And do you have any summer plans?
Yes, I do. So actually, I'm going back to my hometown of Honolulu I leave on July 31st.
Okay. So you'll be, I don't know when this episode will come out, but
Okay.
you may be in Hawaii when this is out. But so you're going back for, you said 3 weeks?
About 3 weeks, yes.
Okay. Any plans that you've got set up?
Nothing major. Usually when I go back, I just hang out with family and friends.
Sure.
I end up a lot of times doing DIY work at my house. So,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have any projects that you have in the
Not
works?
yet, but I'm sure I have many things to do when I get back.
Really?
Yeah.
What have you done in the past?
Just painting rooms, changing the carpet to flooring, things like that.
I see. Is this your family's home or?
It's my family's home, yes.
Okay, I see. So they're probably pretty happy when you come back and
They actually wait for me to come back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Actually, I enjoy doing DIY work. It's very rewarding when you finish, especially with the carpeting, changing the carpeting to flooring.
Right.
Actually, yeah.
So what have you done in the past as far as your skills? Because, I mean, that takes a lot of knowledge, I think. I would not be able to replace a floor, or I could paint, but I don't know about the...
Okay, so let me give you a
stuff.
secret. So before I started changing the carpet to flooring, I'd never done it before. So what I did was I just went to YouTube.
Oh,
There's
yeah?
many tutorial videos on this topic. So that's how I learned, basically.
Really?
Watching YouTube and just trial and error. Yeah.
And it turned out okay, I'm
Turned
guessing?
out fine. Yes.
Okay. All right, well, very good. So going back to Hawaii, the yen right now is pretty weak. And then you're
Yes.
going back to U.S. dollars. So are you going to be bringing some yen to convert, or do you have money saved up in your bank account in Hawaii?
I have some US dollars in Hawaii, but I'll be bringing some yen. And yes, the yen rate to US dollar has been very weak recently. So basically, everything will be much more expensive for me. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And, I don't know if you know, but the cost of living in Hawaii is quite high.
Yeah.
And recently, Hawaii as well has been experiencing a lot of inflation, especially with food products.
Right.
Yeah. So I think in Japan as well, I've been noticing some inflation here.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot, especially I've seen it with food. Let's just give an example like McDonald's. It's gotten really expensive.
Right.
Eggs, that's one of the big ones, especially in the States, that a lot of people have complained about.
Right. I've noticed also butter has gone up a lot.
Oh,
as
yeah?
well. Yeah, so inflation is interesting. So most people think inflation is, just prices going up. But there's another way to look at it. The way I look at it is not the value. So you mentioned eggs going up in price, which it has been. But it's not the value of the egg is going up. It's actually if you look at it from a currency point of view, the currency is becoming weaker. So it requires more yen to purchase, 10 eggs, for example.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, the prices are just ridiculous.
Right.
And, now that we're in the summer, you want to use the AC, so your electricity bill is getting more expensive as well. At least for me it was.
Right.
Not too much, but a little bit I saw an increase.
I think there was an increase in energy rates back in June 1st.
Oh, so they did it deliberately.
I think so, yeah.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. And just this morning, I was talking with another teacher, and he just mentioned that he read somewhere that Japan has one of the highest rates for energy in the world.
Really?
That's what he said. I don't know where he saw that, but yeah, he just mentioned it this morning.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's terrible. For us, at least.
I mean, it could be because of the weaker yen as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because, when you think about inflation, it could be, supply-connected or related inflation where there's less supply, then the prices go up. But it's more, if I were to guess, I think it would be because of the weakening yen.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Now, walk me through maybe why is the yen becoming so weak? If you know that.
Okay, this is just my speculation.
Sure.
In my opinion. Basically, when the Bank of Japan wants to expand the money supply, they need to sell government bonds.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've read in the past, the Bank of Japan wants to keep the yield of the government bonds under 0.25%. The yield is the interest you earn. So basically, how you do that, it works on a supply and demand basis where to keep the rate below a certain point, they would have to buy their own bonds.
Oh, okay, I
And
see.
in order to do that, they need to print money to buy the bonds. So it's, in a way, it's like endless money printing, I guess you could say.
Right.
Yeah, because there's no real target for how much money they need to print per month or per year.
Right.
Right.
I understand that.
So the target is just keeping that yield below 0.25%.
Does it have anything to do with economy?
It could be. So basically, if you want to stimulate the economy, one way is to lower interest rates. Because it'll be easier for people to borrow money, and when people can borrow money easily, then they tend to spend it.
Right.
Right. But if you raise interest rate, it has the opposite effect, right? So.
Right. Also, what do you think about wages? We only have the background of America, at least for me, that I usually will look up.
Right.
And they've hiked up wages for a lot of workers in the past few years, but there's not really been an increase in Japan. So is there a reason why that's not happening?
I'm not sure. I mean, it just depends on the company, for example. But I've noticed a trend, though. Wages never keep up with inflation. And this applies all over the world, not only in Japan. But you're correct. I've been in Japan for, over 20 years. And as far as getting raises, to me, in my opinion, it's very rare to get a pay raise in Japan. But in the U.S., it's normal to ask your boss, hey, can I get like a 3% raise this year?
Right, right.
And it's not unheard of. Where in Japan, it is very unusual to ask for a raise.
Is it more of a custom that is to not ask for something? It's more like you're supposed to earn it, or?
Actually, I'm not really sure, but if I were to guess, I think it's just the way it is here.
Just cultural.
Right, just cultural, right.
Do you think that would change?
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to ask.
Yeah. But the thing is, if it's normal practice not to get a raise, and even if you ask, it might be a little more difficult to actually get a raise.
Yeah, and then they might see you as a threat or something and want to just get rid of you because you're replaceable almost.
Right.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So maybe I won't be asking for that raise.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, because you're going back to Hawaii, have you seen the increase in your airline bill?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just purchased my ticket. So it cost me, I think it was $140,000, which is on the low side right now. But in the past, it used to be like about $100,000.
Oh, really? Okay.
A little. I was just lucky because I purchased it a couple months prior to my departure date.
Right. Yeah. So for you, that's a major hike of price.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. The last time I went, I used to actually pay about $150, and I'm going like almost double the distance of you to Atlanta.
Right.
And that's pretty good, I think.
That is good. Right.
But yeah, it's definitely doubled for sure since the last time, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
Makes it very difficult to go back.
Right.
Just think about the price that high.
Maybe that's a good reason for you to ask for a raise.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to go back home, but I can't afford it. So,
oh, exactly. Yeah. It's way too expensive.
Right.
So do you think the inflation, do you think this is all going to counterbalance at some point, or do you think we're going to get out of it? Do you think it's just going to continue until something really bad happens in the world?
I would like to think it'll start, stabilizing, but to tell you the truth, I think prices will continue to rise for at least for a little while more. Yeah, it's really hard to say when. I can't give you a date, but my guess would be, if I had to guess, I would guess yes, prices will continue to rise. It's because of the currency issue. Right?
Yeah, that's true, and that's probably worldwide. Would you say?
Yes.
Yeah, it's getting hard.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you think that we could see happen to make these changes? How do we get out of the constant inflation or a recession or these types? What have in the past, if what has been the solution to some of these problems?
Okay. Now that you brought that up, you ever heard of the BRICS nations? BRICS stands for like Brazil, India, China, Russia, South Africa.
Okay.
There's something called BRICS Plus, which is 22 more nations trying to join the BRICS. Recently, they've announced that they are thinking about creating a BRICS currency that's gold-backed.
Okay.
Yeah. So if a currency is backed by gold, for example, then we probably won't see as much inflation, because the reason why we're seeing inflation is not because of a supply issue, but if it's based on a currency issue, then it's because of the expansion of the money supply, basically.
Okay. And so this is a good thing if we were to expand and make this something bigger, being gold backed? Is this you said this is a solution?
Yes and no. So it'll be a good thing in a sense where if you are a member of a BRICS nation, you'd have sound currency. But if you are from a nation that's outside of the BRICS, it might be a little tough because you need to somehow convert your existing currency to a gold-backed currency.
I see.
It's kind of like, the US dollar, for example, is not backed by gold at all. A lot of people think it was actually prior to 1971, but not anymore. So it'll be more difficult to convert your currency to a gold-backed currency.
I see. So that's where you're good. You're getting into trouble.
Yeah, you might see challenges in trade, right?
And then like third world countries would just be completely knocked out.
Right.
Okay, good point. Well, I'm a little bit depressed now, but I think we should end it there. And I'll do my homework, and maybe we could come back to this topic again. I'm not really good with the economy necessarily. I try to avoid it because it is a little depressing. But it's probably one thing I should study and should know about to know how to protect myself in the future.
Right. Yeah. So actually, Adrian asked me about this yesterday. He said he asked me, "How can you keep so positive if you know all this is going on?" And then I just told him, well, as an individual, you can't really do much to affect anything, right? So basically, you can't do anything as an individual, but you could prepare as much as possible,
So buy gold.
No, there's not investment advice, but I can tell you what I'm doing is this is not investment advice at all. I know everyone, but basically, when I get paid in yen, I don't keep my yen in the bank.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I keep a little, to pay bills and things like that, but the bulk of it I don't keep in the bank.
So you pull out and keep it.
Right. I change it for things like silver.
Okay, I
things
see.
like that. So other commodities that has actual value. Yeah.
Right.
Intrinsic value. Right.
Okay. Maybe I'll have to start. I'll need your broker or whoever you deal with to buy some gold.
Okay. Well, but I recommend to everyone that don't do anything until you study about it. Just the only thing you should do that I recommend is just get as much knowledge about things like that as possible before you do anything.
Okay. Good advice.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, Shayne, and I'm gonna go out get my money.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Thanks.
All right. You're welcome. Okay. Bye.
Thank you for listening to English Roundtable, made possible by Kanda Gaigo Career College in Tokyo, Japan. If you enjoyed hearing natural English conversation, subscribe and like us wherever you're listening, and check us out on YouTube, Twitter, and our other SNS platforms, which will be in the description for this episode. Head over to the YouTube page to see some of the keywords we used in the conversation and other activities to test your English listening skills. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.